I've been running the Maxxis Razr MTs on the 200 series for a bit over 20,000 kilometres. In this video I'm going to help you understand what I've learnt about them, how they've been going and a bunch more information. So how have I been using these tyres? Well, I put them on brand new and I went up Cape York and we did the Exploring Off the Grid TV show where we did a lot of open road touring, probably about 5,000 Ks, 6,000 Ks all up, and we did a lot of off-road work up there. So we did the old coach road, we did high-speed dirt roads, we did low-speed dirt roads, we did trails, we did a whole variety of different terrain, and then we come home from that trip, we've hung around home for a bit, and then we've driven all the way down to Victoria and done a trip through the Victorian High Country. And again, we did mountain climbing, we did all sorts of stuff like that in the Victorian High Country, and then drove all the way home. And aside from that, I think I've done 2 or 3 trips to Fraser Island with these tyres and the vehicle since in that time frame as well. So I've done a wide variety of different terrain, different trails and different environments with these tyres. So I've been running the MTs not only on the 200 series, I have been running them on my Bandera, and I've got them going on the BYD Shark that we've just done the Simpson Desert with. And if you want to check out that content, it's on the YouTube channel. Just search up Shark Out of Water. It's really cool content. Okay, but let's talk about the Bandera. And the reason I bring the Bandera up is because even though you haven't seen that on my channel for a while because it's getting rebuilt, I ran the MTs on that vehicle for a long time and did an awful lot of hardcore four-wheel driving. So I know they perform in that environment. There's a couple of things about the Bandera though. I never used it for touring. I never did long 1,000 days or anything like that. It was all local sort of stuff. And also the Bandera is relatively light. It weighs less than 2 tons. So I found that the life I was getting out of the Bandera MTs was exceptional because of that. That's why I wanted to run the MTs on the heavy touring vehicle. 2 very different environments so we can understand that. So I've been running these on 3 different vehicles for a number of years. So I think I've learnt how they operated. Now the reason I put them on the 200 series is when I go touring with this thing, it weighs a lot. Around about the 4.2 tons. So I put the camper on the back and we head off and we do long distance open road touring to get to a destination. Then we go wheeling and have a whole heap of fun. So I thought, how does a mud tyre handle a heavy vehicle in a touring environment? You know, they're not really meant to do that sort of work. But how do they go? And I figured that that would be helpful for those of you who really want the mud tyre type tyre on your four-wheel drive, because you go and do, let's say, Cape York, and you live in Melbourne and you're thinking, well, do I want a tour to get all the way to Cape York on a mud tyre so that I can have a great time up there, or would I be better off with an all-terrain tyre? So I figured I'll do the testing to save you wasting some money if that's how you chose, we're gonna go. So let's talk about tyre pressures. Because the vehicle, as I've said earlier, is 4.2 tonne, when I'm loaded up, I'll run 50 PSI in the rear tyres and 40 in the front when I'm doing a touring trip. And that seems to work pretty well. The tyre wear is even across the tyre tread, so I think those pressures are working well. Off-road, well, I'm dropping to various different pressures. If it's just a dirt road or fire trail type environment, I'm going to drop down to around 40, just below 40 on the rears, and probably 35 or so on the front. And if I'm in sand, I'm going down to about 24, 20 or so on the rear, and 18 or so on the front. So that's a bit of an idea of the pressures that I've been running. Okay, let's talk about tyre noise. Because that's the biggest question I see people put up about running an MT type tyre. How noisy are they? Well, it's a really hard one to quantify because it really comes down to personal preference. I personally don't mind a little bit of tyre noise. What I don't want is yelling to talk and have a conversation in the car. I hate that. and I don't want that much noise that after being in the car for 10 hours, I'm exhausted because all I've been listening to is a tyre howling at me for hours on end. So I don't appreciate those two things. What I'm finding with the MTs in the 200 series with the camper on the back, and I'll explain why I raise that point, is that you can have a comfortable conversation at a normal volume in the car. After 10, 12 hours of driving the car, I don't get out with my ears ringing and going, that was miserable. I don't have that. But with the camper on the back, the noise of the tyres comes up between the cab and the camper and comes in through the rear window. So behind us, you've always got this tyre noise coming through the rear window. It's not that loud that it's annoying, but you can definitely hear it. I'm prepared to put up with it because I don't find it's intrusive enough to be a problem, but it is definitely there. Now, you're going to have to make the call as to whether that is going to bother you or not. And if you're in doubt, I would suggest you go for the Maxxis Razr ATs because they don't really have a noise problem the way the MTs do, if that makes sense. So let's touch on the on-road performance. Well, they do the job. I've driven them in the rain, I've driven them wet, I've driven them in the rain towing my race car on a car trailer, I've driven them in the dry race car and all of that. I've done a wide variety of different on-road environments. I've never had them let go on me. What I mean by that is, you know, you stand on the brakes and in the wet, let's say, and they don't skid or carry on for me. They just do their job. They're predictable. Going around a corner in a roundabout, for example, you don't start having understeer or anything unpredictable there. So I've found they've worked really well in the on the wet road environment. And obviously if they're doing well there, they do well on the dry road environment. So I've found them to be a really good on-road performing tyre. Of more interest to you is how do they go off-road? Well, they're a mud tyre and they're an off-road orientated tyre. They're designed for the off-road. In rocks, they just hook in and drag you through. In sand, no dramas at all. You go where you want to go in sand. And I've done, like I said earlier, Fraser Island and a lot of sand driving, no dramas there. In sort of dirt road environments, high-speed dirt roads, I've been cruising up Cape York, sitting on 110, come into corners. They've never let go on me. I've never had all of a sudden I'm having an oversteer moment or something like that, which you do not want in this vehicle because it's quite heavy and a bit top heavy. It's a great handling vehicle, but you definitely don't want to all of a sudden be doing the yee-haw because that's going to be scary. So in those sort of environments, they've performed really well. What I'm interested to see is how are they going towards end of life, and I think I'm going to be keeping them on the vehicle when they get towards end of life, which I expect to be around about 40, maybe 50,000 kilometres, which isn't the 100,000 or 80,000 that you'd get from an AT tyre. And the reason is it's a heavy vehicle and I'm using it and in that high-speed touring type environment, so that's absolutely killing the tyre life. Now, one interesting thing I observed down in the Victorian High Country with the tyres was this vehicle doesn't have diff locks. So when I'm doing the big climbs, all the weight is on the back tyres and they've got a lot of traction. But then when we get to a situation where we do a bit of a wheel lift on one of the front tyres, the traction control means that the wheel that's in the air or with least traction gains a whole bunch of wheel speed. Then when it comes back down to the ground, it grabs the rocks or whatever is on the ground and it tends to chip the tyres a little bit. So we've seen on the front tyres a lot of tyre chipping and on the back tyres none at all. And I think it's coming from the way the traction control system is working in the vehicle. Now on the 105 series, I've been running the ATs, the all-terrain version of the Maxxis tyres, and they're an excellent tyre as well, and oftentimes they're going to suit the user a lot better than the MT will. You see, the AT is going to suit the tourer, it's going to suit the occasional four-wheel driver, and it's going to do reasonably well for most people and their four-wheel driving. The MT is for somebody who really wants to compromise everything around on-road and just get the maximum off-road performance. And because of what I do with my four-wheel driving, I'm out there four-wheel driving, I'm all about off-road, I really do prefer to go for the real off-road orientated tyre. There is another thing, and I've got to be a little bit honest about this. Mud tyres make four-wheel drives look tougher. So I also like that as well. At the end of the day, it's not really why you should be putting tyres on your vehicle, because they look cool and all of that. But anyway, that is part of it, and I've got to be honest about that. So that's my learnings on running the Maxxis Razr MTs on a heavy touring vehicle and how they've worked for me. At the end of the day, I realise that every single one of us uses our four-wheel drive differently, has different needs, has a different budget, and has different personal preferences. So these tyres may not be perfect for you. What I'm hoping is that I've given you a bunch of information that helps you make the right decision for you and your vehicle and the way you use it. I'm Mad Matt. Stay safe on the trails.